Namaskar, happy Vesak Day. Today, on 7th of May 2020, we are gathered online to celebrate Buddha Purnima. This year, Embassy of India Phnom Penh initiated to celebrate Vesak Day by organizing a web talk. It is a small initiative to spread Buddha's teaching all over the world. In this web talk, we have 6 eminent scholars from different countries who will share their views on Vesak Day. Now, I would like to start our web talk with opening remarks from Her Excellency Ms. Monica Jain, Ambassador of India to Cambodia.
Vesak, also known as Buddha Jayanti, Buddha Purnima and Buddha Day, is a holiday traditionally observed by Buddhists in India and Southeast Asia, as well as in Tibet, Mongolia and many other regions. The festival commemorates birth, enlightenment, that is Buddhahood, and death or parinirvan of Gautam Buddha. Born as a prince, he rose above his material happiness and self-centeredness and renounced the world to seek enlightenment for the benefit of humankind. His teachings have deeply influenced the character and evolution of the world, especially Asian civilizations, over the past 2,500 years. His teachings are based on the principles of compassion, honesty, non-violence, mindfulness, and selflessness. His teachings were always relevant and have become more relevant today. The world is facing numerous challenges, including strife, violence, and mistrust. In addition, a new challenge of health and survival has come in the form of COVID-19 pandemic. Buddha's teachings of compassion, selflessness, and mindfulness are very important to fight and overcome this pandemic collectively. On this day of Vesak, I wish everyone the good blessings of Lord Buddha on everyone, and we should promise to ourselves to bury our differences and work collectively to the benefit of entire humanity, particularly with compassion and care for the most vulnerable, to take the society to a better future. Happy Vesak Day. Thank you.
Hearty greetings of the Buddha Purnima, also called Vesak Day. The Buddha was born, according to the latest acceptable calculations, he was born in 624 BCE, and after his lifespan was 80 years, and he entered into Mahaparinirvan in 544 BCE. During this whole lifespan of the Buddha, we come to know that he was born on the full moon day of Vesak. He got enlightenment at the age of 35 on the same day, that is full moon day of Vesak, and he met demise at the age of 80 the same day, that is Vesak full moon day. This is the importance of this day, that the Buddha Vesak Day combines three major events of the life of the Buddha. He was, of course, one of the brightest personalities on this earth who established that suffering is a fact, a bitter reality of life. Everybody has to suffer sometimes, sooner or later, at different times. The problem of suffering is so prevalent that nobody can escape from it. However, the suffering is not imposed on us by any unforeseen forces, but it has some reasons to originate. So the Buddha established that there is some cause of suffering, there is origin of suffering. He also established that it is very much possible to stop or to eradicate the cause of suffering, and when it is eradicated fully, completely, that is the stage of nirvana. And of course, there is a way leading to this attainment of nirvana. So, in the Buddhist scheme of things, suffering, origin of suffering, cessation of suffering, and a way leading to cessation of suffering are known as the Four Noble Truths. The fourth Noble Truth, that is path, has 8 steps, and because of that, it is known as Noble Eightfold Path, or sometimes called Middle Path. Middle Path is so called as it avoids two extremes of leading life, that is self-mortification in the name of purification and excess indulgence in worldly affairs. Since his path avoids these two ends, two extremes, it is called middle path. The middle path has been summarized into 3 also: Seal, Samadhi and Panya. Seal restricts the physical and vocal misdeeds and purifies the person, practitioner, in that way. The Buddha does not stop there. Rather, he emphasizes that mental purification is also equally important, rather more important, because everything originates out of mind. So, mind's mental purification is the most challenging task in the Buddhist schemes of things, and for that he prescribes practice of samadhi, it's concentration. When a person, it's very difficult, it's not a joke. He has set a very pragmatic path from gross to subtle, and for that he prescribes 2 types of concentration, that is Rup Samadhi and Arup Samadhi, and ultimately the attainment of Panya liberates everybody, emancipates everybody from this stage of suffering. The Buddha was, in his personal life, the most enlightened person, unattached to everything. But unlike other seers of his days, he did not resort to go to the forest for his spiritual journey. Rather, he preferred to go to the society to enlighten others, to make them aware what is the reason of suffering, why everybody has to suffer, and how to get rid of that. So, in the Buddhist scheme of things, social or societal concern was very important, and there are a number of discourses of the Buddha which focus on the social problem of caste discrimination, sense of discrimination and inequality, giving preferential treatment to some privileged ones and some not. So, the Buddha always laid emphasis on the fact that everybody is equal, or superiority or inferiority must be gauged on the basis of one's action and not on the on birth in a particular privileged or unprivileged society or family. For Buddha, Panchashil, that is abstinence from killing or harming others, abstinence from stealing or usurping or robbing others, not resorting to sexual misconduct, resorting to truth, not taking liquor and other intoxicants, etc. They were highly important and most focal points of the Buddha's path. Regarding the current situation, if we look at the Buddha's teachings, we find that today, of course, because of this corona problem, which is quite a universal global problem, and there is a message of social distancing and other things, even there, the Buddha's teachings may be considered as very much valuable. There must be social distancing, but not emotional distancing. The Buddha's message of metta and karuna are very, very important. Metta is a feeling of love, loving kindness towards everybody without any expectation of return. And compassion is, I just say, two miles away, even more, to share the pain and sorrow of others without having any sense of superiority or aloofness. So, today, our culture, including Buddhism, which considers the whole humanity as its family, our government established institution like Indian Council of Cultural Relations, which has been moving with the aim of combining the whole world, giving our message to different countries. The Buddha's for Buddha spreading of Buddha's message, many seats or chairs have been created in Buddhist countries like Cambodia, Mongolia, Thailand, and many other countries. They are they are spreading the message of Bharatiya culture in general and Buddhism in particular. I congratulate everybody once again on the auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima. May all beings live peacefully. May all beings be happy. Thank you.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear brothers and sisters in Dharma, today the 7th of May is the auspicious occasion of Visak, the Buddha Jayanti, the day of Buddha Purnima, the full moon day, the day on which we celebrate the birth, enlightenment and Mahaparinirvana of the Shakyamuni Gautam Buddha. Traditionally, the celebration of Visak began on the first anniversary of the Mahaparinirvana, when Mahathera Upali, the first Vinay Acharya, actually Pramukh, laid down the foundations of this ceremony by placing a holy dot, tika, on the holy text of the Vinay Pitak. Emperor Ashok made it a national holiday which began to be celebrated on an annual basis in honor of the Sambodhi, when he came to worship under the Mahabodhi tree during the 10th year of his reign. In the modern times, the decision to celebrate Visak as the Buddha's birthday was formalized at the first conference of the World Fellowship of Buddhists held in Sri Lanka in 1950, which further culminated in the celebration of 2,500 years of Buddhism in 1956. In 1999, the General Assembly of the United Nations adopted resolution number 54/115 entitled International Recognition of the Day of Visak at United Nations headquarters and other United Nations offices. The resolution internationally recognized the day of Visak to acknowledge the contribution that Lord Buddha and Buddhism have made for over 2.5 millennia. The UN resolution called for annual commemoration of the day at the UN headquarters in New York, as well as other UN offices around the world. Consequently, since the year 2000, the United Nations has been observing the Day of Visak at its headquarters and offices in different parts of the world. Celebrating Visak means making special efforts to bring happiness to the senior citizens, the differently abled, the sick, the homeless, and above all those who have been marginalized economically, socially, religiously, and politically. On this day of Visak, the admirers of the Buddha practice Dan Paramita, be it in the form of Shramdan or be it in the form of donation of cash and material goods. Visak is also a time for great joy and happiness, expressed not by pandering to one's appetites, but by uniting with others and serving them, broadcasting the spirit of Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha, that is, friendship with all, compassion and sympathy towards all, celebration and participation in the success of others, sharing and cooperating with others, and above all, helping anybody and everybody who needs help. The day of Visak is also a reminder of the fact that wealth and luxury do not guarantee happiness. Today's profit-oriented, globalizing world is a quintessential example of this. We have been living under the illusion that by producing more and more, by having more and more, and then by consuming more and more, we will make the world a happy place. In order to achieve this goal, we have actually created so much inequality and deprivation in this world that it is impossible to imagine peace and happiness. We have created so much environmental degradation and pollution that life has become totally unwholesome. Such a development has not only cut us off from nature, but also from one another. I have no doubt in my mind that the present day COVID-19 pandemic is also a creation of our utter greed and selfishness. Just see how our very survival is threatened. Just see how our selfish and greedy actions are sowing the seeds of destruction. I feel we seriously need to examine our attitudes and lifestyles. We need to reduce our needs and consumption. We need to learn to cooperate and share. We need to downsize and simplify our lives. So on this auspicious full moon day of Visak, let us all resolve to create a world that is happy and peaceful, where the true spirit of brotherhood of entire mankind is achieved. Sabbe satta sukhi bhavantu, Sabbe satta aver bhavantu, Sabbe satta avyapajya bhavantu, Sabbe satta anig bhavantu, Sabbe satta dukh muchantu. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Prashanthi Narankoda, Professor of Fine Arts from the University of Kalamani, Sri Lanka. I think I am honored and I have the privilege to speak a few words about the Vesak Day celebrations falls on the 7th of May 2020 to be podcast through the ICCR website, especially during this COVID-19 community outbreak. It is wonderful to think of the Vesak Day celebrations that commemorates Buddha's teachings and Buddha's life. For us, how to lead a simple and calm life until we attain our goals. Having said that, I would say if somebody asks me, how do you define Buddhism? I would, needless to say, suggest it is an art. The supreme art of living, simply to say, the art of humanity. Why? Because it has taught us how to lead a good life with love, compassion, loving kindness, equity, equality, empathy, and sympathy, and many more, for us to think of our lives and the community simultaneously. That is why Buddha's teachings, Buddha's life, Siddhartha Gautama, has become the role model of modern day humanity. At this juncture, Buddhist art is the reminiscence of Buddha's teaching. Simply to think of the image of the Buddha that we are venerating, each of us venerating the image of the Buddha. Not because we are expecting or willing to go to the heaven or to merge with the God. No, nothing. It's just to say, just to obey, just to follow the path, and to lead a life until the end of this life, following the Buddha's words, Buddha's teachings, Buddha's way. And at this juncture, we have to be very grateful to our artisans, ancestors, and the modern day artist, whose modest effort was not only to create a beautiful, fantastic image, but through his understanding and realization what the Buddha's teachings, Buddha's personality, philosophy, ethics, and the supreme nature of humanity is portrayed through that image. The iconographic characteristics not only provides the anatomical behavior of the human figure, but also provides us a lesson of the inner soul of the Buddha and Buddha's teachings. Therefore, if somebody asks me, how do you define Buddhism? I would say, Buddhism is art, art is Buddhism.
Buddham Shranam Gacchami, Dhammam Shranam Gacchami, Sangham Shranam Gacchami. I wish you all happy Buddha Purnima 2020. My name is Timbrel Sugabatar. I am from Mongolia. I am teaching Buddhist history and philosophy at National University, Mongolia. Buddha Purnima is very special celebration for Mongolian Buddhists. From ancient time, our ancestors, forefathers, fathers taught, when we do some good, virtuous deeds on this special day, our karma, good karma will flourish, increase 1,000 millions time on this special day. This year's Buddha Purnima have some significances. First, Mongolian Parliament issued decree on celebration Buddha Purnima as public holiday in last year.
I am Anura Manatunga, Professor of Archaeology, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. I would like to thank to the Indian Embassy, Cambodia, and also to the ICCR Chair, Phnom Penh, for inviting me to express my ideas and views on the day of Vesak. The Vesak, as you all know, is the most important celebration of Buddhists all over the world. The day symbolizes the birth of Prince Siddhartha in Lumbini in Nepal and his attainment of Buddhahood at Bodh Gaya in India and his passing away or Mahaparinibbana at Kusinara, which is also in India. And all these three events we believe that happened on the day of Vesak. We celebrated, we remembered, we worshipped and we venerated this Vesak day on the full moon day of the month of May every year. In Sri Lanka also we remembered the Vesak day due to these three reasons. In addition to these three reasons, Sri Lankans have some other reasons to remember the Vesak day. I would like to draw my attention into those other reasons. First, I would like to emphasize on legends of Sri Lanka. These legends, we do not know whether they are historically happened or not, but they have been highly influenced the minds and heart of Buddhists of this country. First, the Mahavamsa, the Buddhist Pali Chronicle of Sri Lanka, mentioned that Buddha has visited Sri Lanka 3 times during his lifetime. The last visit he paid to Sri Lanka was on one of the Visak days. Exactly, it is after 8 years of his attainment of Buddhahood. He visited Kalaniya, where my university is located now, and also the Samantakuta, which is also known as the Adams Peak, during this visit. So what we do now, Sri Lankan Buddhists, they go on pilgrimages to these two places during first 4 months of every year. They start their pilgrimages from Kalaniya in January and they ended them in Vesak day of every year after 4 months. So this is a regular happening in Sri Lanka. And secondly, I would like to draw on the attention of civilization of Sri Lanka. We believe that the beginning of the Sinhalese people, the majority of Sri Lanka, the Buddhists of Sri Lanka, are from a prince from North India. This prince has landed Sri Lanka on exactly the day of passing away of Lord Buddha according to the Mahavamsa. So therefore, Vesak Day is important for Sri Lanka due to that reason also. Thirdly, you know about Arahat Mahendra, the son of Emperor Asoka, who introduced Buddhism to Sri Lanka. At that time, Emperor Asoka asked the king of then Sri Lanka, King Devanampittisa, to coronate it again according to the Indian system. What he did, he re-coronated on one of the Vesak days at Anuradhapura. So therefore, Vesak is important in that point also to Sri Lanka. Now let me come to the more recent years. You know, the Buddhism has suppressed during the colonial administration in Sri Lanka since 15th century. However, in mid-19th century, Buddhism underwent a revivalism in Sri Lanka. During that period, two more important events I would like to mention here for the Vesak. One is the introduction of Buddhist flag. Now you know the 6-color Buddhist flag we hoist everywhere. It has been introduced first in Sri Lanka and hoisted at Colombo exactly 135 years before on one of the Vesak days. And the other reason I would like to refer here is the national holiday. The Vesak Day has been declared by the British government as a national holiday of Sri Lanka exactly about 135 years before in 1885 on the request of Buddhist leaders. So I would like to say that Vesak is not only 3 celebrated reasons of life of Lord Buddha, but it is important for Sri Lankans due to some other reasons which I mentioned just now. Thank you very much.
Namaskar. On the auspicious occasion of Vesak or Buddha Jayanti, I extend heartfelt greetings to the Indian Embassy in Cambodia, the ICCR chair, followers of Buddhism, and to all those who have faith in noble thoughts preached by Lord Buddha. As we come together in this time of unprecedented global pandemic to celebrate Lord Buddha's arrival, enlightenment, and parinirvana, it is also the time we wake up to the universal ideas propounded by him for the betterment of the human race. We are faced with many pertinent questions in our time. We are witness to increasing disharmony, never-ending greed, and overpowering consumerism, increasing mechanization of human life, shrinking of forest cover, polluting of the rivers, all creating irreversible harm to our ecology and environment. One is even compelled to think when and where all these will stop, or where would all this ultimately take us. While we have made massive and very quick progress in many walks of life and leveraged technology in multiple ways to make a better society, the human world is also confronted with unforeseen problems. Buddhism and its ethics have found constant echoes in our life systems. Buddhist teachings are also born out of real life experience and hence they offer practical solutions. The world over, followers of Buddhism are also offering tangible solutions to the problems that confront us. Buddha's emphasis on non-violence finds strong parallel in Hinduism and Jainism. In fact, they can be seen as part and parcel of a greater religious order originating from a common Indic tradition. Non-violence is not mere non-injury to others, but at a more higher level, it means not nursing any will against anybody. In this sense, the concept of ahimsa itself has strong powers of conciliation. This aspect of ahimsa, this aspect of non-violence was utilized by Gandhi as a powerful weapon to fight oppressive colonial regime. He made constant effort to enhance self-respect, self-dignity in the human society. He was very committed to non-violence in all walks of life, in all kinds of policy measures, in all forms of human progress. Buddhism's emphasis on the innate goodness of human beings, the need to provide selfless service, to control greed, to care for the underprivileged, the idea of detachment from worldly things. All these principles find a strong acceptance in our value system. Both Mahatma Gandhi and Mahamana Malviya, two great leaders of 20th century India, who almost also called themselves Sanatani Hindus, they talked of increasing involvement of religion or dharma in our daily affairs, inculcating high moral values in our political and policy domain. On this day of Visak, may Lord Buddha bless all those who, while risking their own lives, are in the forefront of fighting the dreaded COVID. May the world emerge stronger from this crisis and may human sufferings end soon. Thank you so much.